Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, and today I'm going to tell you all about Shawn Michaels, who is receiving widespread criticism for his selling, or lack thereof, on WWE Raw. And on top of that, we've got the real reason that WWE are holding Payback just 1 week after SummerSlam.
Plus, major details have come out regarding Goldberg's WWE contract and how are the WWE locker room reacting to returning to live shows. This is the news.
Let's kick things off by talking about Shawn Michaels, one of the greatest bumpers and sellers maybe of all time in professional wrestling, but he is receiving almighty flack for his role on what went down on this week's episode of Raw. So he was guest starring, he was there to hype Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. He ended up taking an RKO and a punt. He wasn't exactly down for a long time after taking those moves. He was crawling up in the corner like seconds later, and then he was up on his feet by the end of the show. Now, the punt has obviously been built up as WWE's biggest kill shot since Randy Orton brought it back. You take that move and you are leaving here unconscious. Not if you're Shawn Michaels, apparently. This has drawn criticism from Bully Ray, who's never shy of sharing his opinion, but he tweeted, "An RKO and a punt to the head from Randy effing Orton and Shawn is on his feet?" And there's like 20 question marks, so you know he's being real serious. Leo Rush also commented on this, saying, 2008, Shawn would have sold this punt until next month. Although it looks like Leo has deleted his Twitter account, deactivated his Twitter account since then. So there's been some other stuff here and there floating around on the internet, but you know, the wider wrestling world is going, hey, Shawn, I'm going to tell you what to do in pro wrestling, including Leo Rush, who once no-sold a flipping pile driver off a ladder through a table. But I'm being facetious here. Big fan of Leo Rush. Respect Bully Ray's opinion. They've all got a point. It wasn't the greatest sell job from Shawn Michaels, who years ago, like Leo says, would have sold this to the moon and back.
Yeah, I have to say, I raised an eyebrow, to be honest, when I saw what happened on Monday Night Raw. Like, yes, there is the argument that Orton didn't properly wind up like he usually does for the punt. He just sort of argued and then quickly kicked him in the head. But even so, you'd expect Shawn to be unconscious, or like you say, at the bare minimum, stay down until the show goes off the air. You know, this storyline obviously involved Drew coming in and referees coming in to check on Shawn, which allowed Randy Orton to hit that RKO eventually on Drew McIntyre. But it didn't look great. My theory is they may have the idea of Drew kicking out of the punt at SummerSlam, and they don't want to, you know, water that down by going, oh yeah, it's not that bad actually. Like, They want to make Drew, understandably, just remind everyone he is a superhero, and him kicking out of a punt would do that. Having said all that, look, he did sell it. It's not like he completely no-sold it, but he could have done a lot better job in terms of, like, this has taken people out for months. This has written people off TV seemingly forever. Yeah, and he was slouched in the corner at best as a result of that. So back to NXT with Shawn Michaels. Although, like they say, they maybe want to keep Shawn looking slightly strong, because maybe he's going to get involved on Sunday. Lots of speculation regarding that. Someone else who might get involved on Sunday, probably won't, but it's a tough segue to make. Goldberg. Really interesting developments coming out about him last night. You probably saw this trending. You may have seen loads of people talking about this on Twitter. Basically, he made an appearance on the WhatCulture show back in July, and it's just kind of caught everyone's attention last night. The revelation being that he is currently signed to WWE on a 2-match-a-year deal running through to 2023. That means, of course, he has 4 matches minimum left with this promotion. Of course, this year we've already seen him, win the Universal Championship from The Fiend at Saudi Arabia, and then, of course, drop it to Braun Strowman at WrestleMania, which would suggest that he's done for WWE this year, and there's no real reason, of course, with the lack of crowds in attendance, although the Thunderdome, you know, we are going to see his face anymore on WWE TV in 2020. But he did say, he was quoted as saying, "My WWE commitment is still going strong. At 53, I never would have imagined this, especially after making fun of Ric Flair when he was doing it in his early 40s. Andy Murray, 4 more matches for Goldberg. How are you feeling about it? And when's the Big E match going to take place?
Yeah, big man slapping beef, or whatever Big E said. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, Goldberg hasn't looked great in his past few outings, but he's one of my favorite dudes ever. Like, I don't care. Like, the matches are sometimes pretty crap, but hey, I just like seeing Uncle Bill on TV. So, you know, maybe he can keep doing stuff like he did against Dolph Ziggler. I thought that was very effective. But we don't need, like, you know, longer than five minutes. We don't need longer than 2 minutes, really. Particularly as he'll be, 55 by the end of this deal? Something like that. Crazy situation, but hey man, glad Bill's still getting paid. Speaking of getting paid, pay-per-views are happening, 2 in a row. SummerSlam this weekend, Payback next weekend. Why are WWE doing this? Have they lost their goddamn minds? Well, maybe, but Dave Meltzer has come through, Shagger Dave, with a possible explanation on this. He tweeted about this last night, actually, calling the situation an experiment to see how it works. WWE are testing the waters. He says that perhaps the promotion have an idea for a hot angle coming out of SummerSlam that they feel they need an immediate follow-up. Or maybe it's just an idea that they are just trying for the hell of it. I'm inclined to believe that option because it's funnier. The idea of Vince McMahon in a creative meeting going, hey pal, let's hold another pay-per-view 7 days later. Why? I don't know. Something to do. It's just more amusing than the idea of them building a concise storyline that's going to, you know, continue into the next week. But it also allows them to build rematches, of course, for Payback as well. We've heard reports of screwy finishes galore, potentially. So we'll see how it all plays out. Planned or a total mess, I don't know, either way, but it's going to be 2 late nights and 2 consecutive Sundays, brother.
Well, yeah, exactly. My conspiracy theory is, of course, they're trying to take all the money out of everyone's pockets before All Out, which is in 2 weeks on Saturday.
Yeah.
3 pay-per-views, 3 weekends. Yeah. Well, 4 pay-per-views, of course, if we include TakeOver. Goodness me, it never stops, does it? But, yeah, I don't believe that first suggestion of, oh yeah, don't worry, we've got some great storylines planned. No, you haven't. You've got some shenanigans planned, and you'll be like, oh, don't worry though, because, you know, even if you've just bought the WWE Netflix SummerSlam, oh, you get this pay-per-view next week for that. Trust me, it's not some sort of experiment. TNA tried weekly pay-per-views. Look how that went for them. Yeah, there's going to be some screwy finishes, I reckon, on Sunday. My guess would be the WWE Championship match, especially with Shawn Michaels speculation, etc. They'll feel they can kind of get out of jail with that one. Look, there's some matches that are probably going to go to a finish. I very much doubt, and this is going to piss a lot of people off if they don't do this, that there's going to be some sort of shenanigans in that Sasha. Well, there will be shenanigans, but not the one that will affect the finish. We are getting a definitive result, I'd say, in the Sasha versus Asuka match. Maybe not in the Bayley versus Asuka match. Who knows? They're, of course, defending the women's tag team titles. Like, that's an interesting one. The fact that they could go from all the gold to none of the gold in a space of 2 weeks, or a week and a bit, basically. Yeah. But, yeah, I sense that they're just doing it because bollocks, they can. And they want to try and get the most out of the Thunderdome, one would suspect, Andy.
Looking forward to that Thunderdome.
Well, speaking of the Thunderdome, of course, this week's SmackDown will be the first show to emanate from the Amway Center in Orlando. State of the art. We've been promised pyro, lasers, content on the roof, whatever that bloody means. It's going to be something. Myself and Andy have already said we will be staying up on Friday night. We're old. We don't normally stay up that late, but we'll be staying up to watch whatever this is. But the interesting thing has come out regarding how the locker room are feeling about returning to proper live shows from this Thunderdome. Fightful Select reporting, for once, the locker room are, quote, unanimously, we'll get there, third try, positive about going back to live TV. The reason being, they're hoping it's going to lead to shorter tapings. Apparently all the stuff in the PC would, you know, drag on till the early hours in the morning, and we've reported on numerous occasions how much things could change, and the fact that it'd be like, oh no, don't worry, we'll be all finished recording by Wednesday. Change your plan, you've got to stay here for another 3 days whilst we record a load more bollocks. And, you know, there's been criticism, of course, of the fact that it's not really live wrestling, because they just go, oh, that spot was a bit bad, let's just do it again. But I think it's the best. We'll return to live TV, and whatever the Thunderdome will bring, Andy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Thunderdome. Earnestly, I just want to see how weird the whole thing's going to be. Wrestling fans broadcast live onto video screens. I'm sure that won't go wrong. It should be a lot of fun. I'm just looking forward to seeing something different. The shows need a fresh coat of paint. Even if it's a complete shambles, I don't think it will be, but even if it is, it's going to be wacky.
Exactly.
And, that'll be fun. So,
Love the
thumbs
fact
up.
that the wrestlers also only found out about all these changes when it was announced on WWE's website. Way to go, guys. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Shawn Payne, who says, fantasy booking, you'll never see it coming tagline. What would you like to see that you don't think you will at SummerSlam? Mine would be Otis cashing in on Randy Orton after he cheats Drew.
Here's the worst idea of all time. Otis, Mandy Rose loses to Sonya Deville. Mandy Rose is about to get her head shaved. Otis comes down with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Otis cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase for the hair clippers so that Mandy can save her hair. Does that not sound like the best idea or the worst idea of all time? Either way, that's happening.
Sweet Jesus, that's worse than Otis coming down and beating the Fiend, which I was going to suggest. I thought you were going to suggest there it wasn't even involving the briefcase. Otis just volunteers his own hair in the place of Mandy Rose's.
He might do that. He's going bald, so, it's not a terrible idea.
God, no, it's already had to happen so much with people on SmackDown. We need some consistency here. I don't think you can do much better than that.
Or worse.
I suppose maybe Dominic turning on his own dad. But that's actually possible, so...
Taking his dad's other eye.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Another eye for an eye match at Payback. Oh, no.
Metal, man. Metal.
Right, second question today comes from the guy from the corner store who says, okay, I might be the minority here, but I want the Slammy Awards back. Not the so very fake way they had them, but more like an actual award show, all with a Lifetime Achievement Award. All awards are full fan voted as well. No kayfabe. Thoughts, Andy?
I would like that a lot. I think that would be a lot of fun. It would be a good reflection of where the fan base is truly at. Good to get a gauge of certain things' popularity and lack thereof in some cases. It'd be cool. It would just be another thing to watch. I mean, as long as it's shorter than the bloody Hall of Fame, which is a living nightmare. But yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. I also think, however, that if it's fan voted, it's something that they'll never really do. Because, all those cyber things, Slam... What was that pay-per-view called again?
Cyber Sunday, Taboo Tuesday?
Those things, yeah. I mean, they were all gimmicked, right? We know they were all gimmicked. The majority of them probably were, at least. So I don't think it's something they'll ever go for, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's especially relevant right now, I'd say, for something like this, because we've had, 6 months with no fans in attendance? Do WWE really know, apologies to Kurt Angle, how over everyone is? Who's the really popular one? This would be a great way to gauge something like this without having fans in attendance. And, they're always looking at who they should push next. Just get fans to vote on stuff and you'll know... Right, this guy's over, this guy is kind of meh, according to the WWE universe, and this is what they should be doing. I love the idea, but they're just going to gimmick it and do more LOL moments of the year or whatever it is. Final question today comes from Ellen Kruger, who says, the theory is that Sasha will lose her belt and turn on Bayley, but I actually think Bayley will lose and, unable to stand being the one without a belt, will turn on Sasha. Make a pasty bet with me, I dare you.
Yeah, I'll make a bet with you on that. It's kind of a tough one for me to dive into because people are going to hate this. I don't like the Bayley heel character, so I would like to see her turn. And Sasha is so great as the proper boss that it would be a kind of shame to have her go back babyface. But she's played it, well against Charlotte in the past. The feud they had in 2017 when they had like 200 matches in a row. I love that. But yeah, man, I'll make that. I'm all over the place here. I'm rambling like a Mother Hubbard. But yes, let's shake hands with pasties.
I think it is going to be Sasha taking the belt off Bayley. I think you've got far more intrigue putting that Raw Women's Championship back on Asuka. You've got ready-made opponents, which I don't want to see it. Nia Jax is right there. Shayna Baszler and the Four Horsewomen is a feud that could take you arguably right up until WrestleMania if you wanted. And then on SmackDown, look, Bayley has faced literally everyone who she could face who's a babyface. If you put Sasha in there, you can get some heels challenging. You can mix things up. I think that's the way it's going to go. And I'll take that pasty bet as well. We'll post them together if we lose, just to save on postage, Andy?
Let's do it.
Right, let's wrap up with today's. And finally, I want to give a quick shout out to Hamid, who said it's his 34th birthday today. or he said this yesterday, he said it was tomorrow. So he said, any chance for an oven? Ready, Andy? Oh, iconic! Birthday shout out. Sorry, headphone users. Yes, thank you for the warning there, Hamid. Happy birthday. And also want to give a shout out to Mark Solid, who said, let's hope Retribution doesn't ruin Thumper's birthday. It's a picture of a dog in a hat. How could we not feature this, Andy?
Happy birthday, Thumper, and indeed the Aussie legend in the background there as well. Love all the dogs, man. Love all the dogs.
Trust me, you will never tire of seeing dog photos if you want to keep sending them to us.
Man.
At WhatCulture WWE on Twitter. Watch, they can follow both of us. You can follow Andy at...
You know, I was going to tie this up and cue it in really nicely and go, here's my dog, but I messed it up. So at Andy H. Murray, H stands for here's my dog. Look at her. Look at Jess, man. She's the best.
No, you can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWE, as I said. And let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, of course. And whilst you're online, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts, including, of course, the Wednesday Night War preview. AEW conceding the Wednesday Night War. Now, bad news for Michael Sidgwick. NXT wins, lol. We'll be previewing that a little bit later on today. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us. Good boy, and we will see you soon.
Woof.